Hello, kindred friend. Have you ever lain down in bed with a body completely exhausted, yet something deep inside you remains awake and refuses to rest? Your physical form sits still in the darkness, but your nervous system is still perched in a state of high alert, like a soldier who has not yet received the ceasefire order after a long, weary day. The truth is, within your nervous system, there always exists an invisible door. This door divides your being into two worlds, the world of survival and the world of healing. Etch this truth into your heart. As long as this door remains open, your body will never be able to heal completely. Zen masters since ancient times have understood this secret mechanism very well. They never used their will to force themselves into sleep. They simply performed rituals to close that door, and natural recovery would automatically begin to flow. Regrettably, most of us today go to sleep with the door of consciousness flung wide open. The nervous system is still busy standing guard, and anxiety silently lurks, making each night's sleep merely an effort to survive the day, rather than a true rebirth for every cell. Tonight, I invite you to learn how to close that door, not by the power of compulsion, but through the sacred art of letting go. Let me guide you out of the room of survival and back to the haven of true peace right now. Why is your nervous system always awake? Kindred friend, take a moment to empathize with your own nervous system. For decades, it has worked tirelessly to protect you through the hardships of life. But that very devotion sometimes becomes the shackles preventing you from finding peace. Inside us exists an incredibly sophisticated operating mechanism, divided into two completely opposite states, survival mode and healing mode. Imagine them like two rooms located on either side of the invisible door I mentioned. When you are in the survival room, all the body's resources are focused on defense. Conversely, only when you step into the healing room do the cells begin the work of overhauling, purifying, and restoring the essence of life. An immutable biological law is, they cannot operate at maximum capacity at the same time. Our brain, after millions of years of evolution, has become a diligent radar, constantly scanning for signs of danger. Unfortunately, this radar cannot distinguish between a wild beast in the jungle and an anxiety about a financial bill or a silent resentment toward a loved one. Even when you are lying still in a warm bed, in absolute silence and safety, the brain silently carries out its mission. It scans through lingering memories and uneasy premonitions about tomorrow, and each anxious thought is interpreted by the nervous system as a threat. Thus, even though your eyes are closed, the healing door remains bolted, and your nervous system stays in the survival room, ready to fight the ghosts of the mind. Understand this profound truth. Your body cannot enter healing while it still believes protection is necessary. Deep down, your nervous system is like a devoted but exhausted protector. It cannot lay down its weapons just because you tell it to relax. Mere verbal self-reminders of the intellect are usually not heavy enough to sway an ancient survival instinct. Zen masters of old found the key to this problem. They understood that to close the door of survival, they did not use thoughts to persuade the brain, but used precise physical signals to reassure the nervous system. Instead of forcing the mind to be silent, they learned to send messages through the body, a primal language that the nervous system can understand and trust immediately. Tonight, we will not learn how to try to be peaceful through thinking. We will learn how to send safety signals directly to every neuron, so the sentinel within you truly believes the war is over. The danger has passed. Now is the time for recovery. Let us explore how to send that first signal right now. Why do we sleep without recovery? Imagine the stillness of your house at midnight when the world outside has completely receded. That should be the most graceful moment for the body and mind to rest. Yet, most of us today bring a whole world of turbulence onto our beds. We bring bright blue light screens, a light that deceives the brain into thinking dawn is coming, causing the naturally sacred circadian rhythm to be disrupted. We bring endless streams of thought about unfinished business, regrets over a misplaced word in the past, or anxieties about children and grandchildren far away. We lie there, but in reality, we are ruminating on the stresses of a day gone by. These unconscious habits prevent the invisible door inside you from closing. Every piece of negative news you read before bed, every uneasy premonition you nurture in the dark, all are commands forcing the nervous system to maintain high vigilance. Kindred friend, listen closely to this naked truth. Your body lies down, but your nervous system remains standing guard. This is the explanation for the paradox many of us face. Why have you slept for 8 hours, or even more, yet wake up in the morning with heavy shoulders, tired eyes, and a spirit as exhausted as if you hadn't rested at all? It is because you have only performed the act of closing your eyes, but have not yet truly entered the state of regeneration. When the nervous system is standing guard, it consumes all reserve energy to stay ready for imagined dangers. It is like a car with the engine running, even while standing still. Your life essence is leaking out right when you think you are resting. The healing door remains bolted because the nervous system mistakenly believes the storm is still raging outside. This exhaustion cannot be healed by sleep time alone, but only by changing the state of the nervous system. Do not blame yourself for being tired, because you are not lazy or weak. You are simply lacking the passport to step into the room of recovery. Tonight, I want you to stop tormenting yourself with efforts to sleep more. Instead, we will learn how to send 4 sacred keys to gently close the survival door, so the soldier within you is finally allowed to lay down his weapons and truly return home. Take a gentle breath, so we can begin to discover the first key right now. The first key, breath-sending signals of safety. Now, as you lie warm in your private space, let me lead you to touch the first key to closing the survival door. I invite you to gently place a hand on your lower abdomen, the area Zen masters call the dantian, the center of stability and life essence. In this moment, the most important thing I want you to remember is, do not try to perform any complicated breathing technique. Stop being a commander who always wants to bend everything to your will. Tonight, please just be a silent and tolerant observer. Feel the natural rising and falling occurring right under your palm. Your breath right now may be shallow or deep, fast or slow. All are accepted. All are fine. Just let the breath be as free as it naturally is. And then, very smoothly, as you begin to breathe out, actively prolong that breath a little more. Imagine you are breathing a sigh of relief after dropping a 1,000-pound burden that you have carried all day long. Just prolong the exhale longer than the inhale in the most natural way possible. Dear friend, this act of prolonging the exhale is a powerful biological code to communicate directly with your nervous system. Modern science has proven that when you prolong the exhale, you are directly activating the vagus nerve, the largest cable of peace connecting the brain to the internal organs. This is the way to wake up the parasympathetic nervous system, leading your body out of the fight-or-flight state and into the recovery state. Etch this wisdom-filled affirmation into your heart. Every extended exhale tells your nervous system the danger has passed. In the language of the body, the inhale represents alertness and charging energy. Conversely, a long exhale is the most authentic evidence that you are in a completely safe space. When you slow down your exhale, you are sending a definitive ceasefire command to the anxious brain. You are telling every cell, there are no more wild beasts chasing us. All the world's affairs have stopped outside that window. Now we are allowed to rest. Listen to the miraculous response of the body at this very moment. When the safety signal is sent, you will feel your shoulders, once tensed, suddenly drop and soften onto the mattress. Your jaw, which might have been clenched with worries, now automatically releases, loosening the space for relaxation. Your heart rate begins to slow, rhythmic, and steady, like a temple bell in the quiet of night. This is the moment when the invisible door inside you begins to move softly. The survival room is fading behind you, and the space of healing is gradually opening before your eyes. Let the exhale continue to be prolonged, leisurely, and serene, for you are truly protected within your own breath. The second key, removing the internal supervisor. Imagine your mind right now like a diligent but extremely harsh manager. Throughout the day, this manager always holds a long list of things to do, constantly urging, controlling, and correcting everything around you. Ironically, even when you have lain down and are breathing deeply, this supervisor refuses to retire. He silently shifts to supervising your own body. Do you realize it? Even in the darkness, your mind is busy checking. Are my shoulders really loose? Why does my back still hurt a bit? Is my mind quiet enough to sleep? We mistakenly believe this control will help us find peace quickly. Yet, in ancient Zen wisdom, this very supervision is a most subtle barrier preventing the healing door from closing. Dear friend, understand the silent mechanism of the brain. Supervision always goes hand in hand with insecurity. When you watch your body for relaxation, you are sending an alarm signal to the nervous system. Something is wrong. I must monitor it closely. In the language of survival instinct, having to be supervised means you are in an unsafe environment. And so, the nervous system sentinel stands up again, and the healing door is once more blocked. Now, I invite you to take the boldest step of consciousness. Fire the supervisor for the next few hours. We will together perform a journey of non-interfering observation through the body. Begin to let your attention wander from the top of the head, down to the forehead, down to the forehead, down the shoulders. Do not try to make any area become relaxed. If you see an area that is tensed, just let it be tensed. If you see an area that is aching, just let it ache. Do not analyze, do not label, and do not try to fix anything. Just be a leisurely observer, looking at your body the way you stand, by a lake watching ripples, with no intention of making the water flat. Etch this sacred truth into your heart to lean on. The body heals fastest when it is no longer being watched. The moment you truly let go of the desire to control the body, a biological miracle will begin to operate. When the supervisor withdraws, the analytical brain automatically powers down, giving way to the body's innate wisdom. With no one watching, the cells begin to freely perform their work of mending. Feel the invisible door inside you close a bit more. The room of survival is fading away, giving way to a silent, vast, and graceful space. You do not need to do anything to heal. You just need to be there and trust the natural rhythm of life. Let the light of awareness spread throughout your body, leisurely and quietly, for you are truly resting under the protection of absolute stillness. The third key, leaving your identity outside the door. Imagine a Zen monk leisurely walking toward his hermitage as sunset falls. Before stepping over the threshold, he stops, gently removes his shoes, and brushes the road dust off the hem of his robe. In that quiet room, He is no longer a teacher, no longer a bearer of the Dharma, and no longer carries any expectations of sentient beings. He is simply a living entity preparing to melt into the most primal rest. Kindred friend, the greatest tragedy that keeps the invisible door inside you from closing is that we bring our entire identity onto our beds. You lie there, but in reality, you are still wearing the heavy cloak of a family provider, a mother always worrying for her children, or a patient tirelessly searching for a cure. You unintentionally confuse what you do with who you are. Understand the brain's silent mechanism. As long as you cling to the identity of a protector or worrier, the nervous system receives an order to stay awake to guard that role. It cannot allow you to rest, because it mistakenly thinks that if you fall asleep, your responsibility will collapse. This burden of earthly roles silently erodes your life essence, keeping the nervous system in a state of red alert even though the surrounding space is completely quiet. Tonight, I invite you to perform the most sacred ritual of renunciation. Right now, as the breath has become smooth, whisper to the depths of your consciousness this liberating mantra. Tonight, I have no problems to solve. Let this sentence soak into every cell, feeling its weight lifting every stone pressing on your chest. At this moment, you declare to the universe that the conscious work session has truly ended. You are no longer a grandmother worrying about a grandchild, no longer someone facing financial troubles in a distant land. In the sacred space of sleep, you shed all names, all titles that the world has placed on your shoulders. You are merely a pure, nameless, and free life leaning into the arms of the night. When you dare to perform this renunciation, the brain's threat scanning system will automatically lower the alarm to the lowest level. With no role to protect, the nervous system finally has the courage to completely lay down its arms. Etch this truth into your heart. Healing begins when responsibility temporarily ends. Feel the invisible door inside you now, almost completely closed. Only a small sliver of light from the ego is fading away. You are becoming larger than all your problems. You are loosening the final tie to the world to prepare for the most primal return. Tonight, the world out there will run according to its own rhythm, while you have the right to become a quiet life, protected and loved in boundless stillness. The fourth key, the courage to stop efforting. Contemplate a silent but powerful paradox of life. There are things in this world that the more you chase them, the further they run, and only when you have the courage to stop do they quietly find their way back. Sleep is one of those things. After having performed the breathing, observed the body, and shed the roles, we often stumble upon one final, more subtle barrier, the effort to sleep. You lie there and silently command yourself, I must sleep right now. Why am I still awake after 10 minutes? Kindred friend, the very moment you use your will to force yourself into dreams, you are unintentionally reactivating the entire defense system we worked so hard to soothe. In the language of the nervous system, effort equals control, and control is a signal announcing, this environment is not safe enough yet. I still need to manage everything. At that moment, your brain returns to the survival room. You cannot step into sleep through will. You can only fall into it through surrender. I want to give you a beautiful metaphor from meditative wisdom. Sleep is like a shy animal sheltering in the deep forest. If you take a torch to look for it, if you call out loudly or chase its footprints, that creature will be afraid and hide in the vast darkness. It will never appear if it feels a will is hunting it. Sleep only softly leaves the bushes, quietly steps forward, and alights gently on your eyelashes when you completely ignore its presence. Only when you stop caring whether you are awake or asleep does the miracle truly happen. Etch this supreme affirmation to end all inner wars. Sleep arrives when the one trying disappears. Tonight, I invite you to take the boldest step. Give up the intention to be healed. Give up the craving for rest. Let yourself be like a drop of water merging into the ocean, formless, purposeless, effortless. When the I that is trying to control completely withdraws, the invisible door inside you is finally closed in the most complete way. Feel the absolute stillness enveloping you. No one is standing guard. No one is supervising. And no one is efforting anymore. There is only the pure presence melting into the arms of the night. At this moment, you have truly left the survival room to step fully into the sacred space of healing. Everything is done. Let yourself drift, leisurely and quietly like that. When the door closes, the miracle of reconstruction. Listen to the absolute silence that has just appeared around you. When that invisible door has closed, when the supervisor has retired, and the earthly roles have been left outside the threshold, a sacred and mysterious world begins to rise within your every cell. This is not a soulless state of slumber, but the most brilliant journey of rebirth that a human can reach. In the wisdom of the masters, this moment is likened to when a temple is empty of visitors, leaving only the purity for the guardian deities to begin the work of clarifying and purifying. Modern science calls this the time when the brain's detoxification system is most strongly activated. When you completely let go, the blood vessels in the brain expand, allowing a pure flow to permeate every corner of the neurons to sweep away the metabolic waste accumulated after a long day of worry. It is a sacred general cleaning, returning to your mind the clarity and sharpness of its original state. At the same time, a symphony of healing hormones begins to play. Hormonal balance is reestablished, and cells once damaged by daily pressure now receive the grace to mend and revive themselves. You do not need to take any magic pill, because absolute stillness itself has become the most sophisticated elixir, nourishing the bones and soothing the subtle tremors in the nervous system. But the miracle does not stop at the physical body. When the survival door is closed, your soul also begins its great work of reconciliation. The emotional knots, the fragments of anger or anxiety you hadn't processed during the day, will now be gently untied by the wisdom of the subconscious. Sleep now becomes a devoted librarian, quietly rearranging memory cabinets, filtering out worries, and keeping only what is lesson and wisdom. Every spiritual burden will melt into the void, giving way to tolerance and self-arising joy to sprout. Feel the gentle vibration of life being reconstructed inside you. No more resistance, no more control. You are simply an entity being supported and soothed by the universe with unconditional love. Etch this sacred affirmation into your heart. This is when true healing begins. All your efforts for so long have finally borne fruit in this doing nothing. You are being reborn every second and every minute in the arms of stillness. Let this miraculous process continue to operate, taking you deeper into the land of absolute serenity, for you are truly returning to the most primal and powerful essence of yourself. The biggest mistake, the unconscious act of reopening the door. Yet, at the very threshold of that freedom, there is a silent habit that can make you lose everything we have just built. Dear friend, have empathy for yourself, for this is an ironic paradox most of us fall into. The effort to verify the healing. You lie there, eyes closed, breath leisurely, but deep in your consciousness. You stealthily open a third eye to watch for the result. You ask yourself, is the door closed yet? Do I feel any lighter yet? Or, why haven't I actually fallen asleep after 10 minutes? The moment you ask those questions, you are performing the most harmful act. You are softly reopening the survival door we just worked so hard to close. Look deep into the brain's operating mechanism. In the language of the nervous system, Supervising and checking always equal an alarm signal. When you monitor your progress, the brain interprets, the problem is not yet solved. The risk is still there, so I must stay awake to manage. Immediately, the sentinel stands up again, and stress hormones are silently secreted to serve the vigilance of the ego. You unintentionally turn the bed into a laboratory, where you are both the anxious patient and the doctor eagerly waiting for a miracle. I want you to etch this ultimate truth into your heart, to free yourself from every final pressure. Healing cannot occur under supervision. The greatest recovery of a human always takes place in the darkness and absolute not knowing. It is like how a flower bud silently takes shape in the cold night, or how roots quietly strike deep into Mother Earth. They do not need anyone's witness or applause to perform their miracle. Tonight, perform the boldest act. Fire your internal supervisor. Do not try to measure peace. Do not look for magical signs tomorrow morning. The craving for results is actually a form of subtle violence of the mind upon the body. When you demand the body get well immediately, you are sending a command of mistrust. Stop being a referee grading your own sleep. Become a vast space where everything is allowed to happen without the consent of reason. When you dare to ignore whether you are being healed or not, that is when the survival door is truly locked, giving way for the healing room to operate in absolute freedom and grace. Let yourself be undetermined like that, for total surrender is the most divine medicine for every wound. Morning integration. When dawn breaks. Imagine the miraculous moment of transition, when the darkness gradually recedes and the first sunbeams softly seep through the curtains, waking the quiet space in your room. At that moment, when the boundary between dream and reality has just blurred, I invite you to perform the boldest act of consciousness, non-judgment toward the past night. Most of us have the habit of opening our eyes and immediately using reason to dissect. How many hours did I sleep last night? Why do I still feel a bit tired this morning? Is this ritual actually effective? Dear friend, this hurried evaluation is the fuel that recreates the tension you worked so hard to let go of throughout the night. When you start to analyze, you unintentionally push the nervous system back into the laboratory, where each sleep becomes a health test instead of a grace. In the wisdom of the masters, true recovery never operates in a straight line. It is like the rhythm of the tide, sometimes surging strongly, sometimes quietly receding. Etch this truth into your heart to soothe your soul every morning. Healing is a climate, not an event. Your task is not to force the flower bud to bloom on time, but to patiently cultivate a favorable atmosphere consisting of relaxation and trust. There are nights when healing does not manifest as an immediate feeling of refreshment the next morning. Sometimes, waking up with a bit of weariness is a sign that the body just underwent the deepest cellular general cleaning, filtering out neuronal toxins accumulated after long, hard days in a distant land. Therefore, from tomorrow morning, leisurely accept every sensation of the body with tolerance. Don't wait until every pain has completely disappeared to feel okay. Learn to trust your body's wisdom absolutely. Recovery is a silent, subtle process, like how night dew gradually soaks into Mother Earth. When you stop watching for the result, you create the vastest space for the miracle to manifest in the most natural way. Let the stillness of last night guide every step of yours into the new day. For you are being reborn in every breath, every beat, even when you don't realize it. Kindred friend, as the shared words now quietly settle like golden dust slowly falling to the bottom of a still lake, I hope you carry one last idea before truly entering the realm of dreams. Understand that you have never been broken, and healing has never been a hard-fought battle that you must strain to win. You do not need to use force to compel any cell to recover. Your only task tonight is to perform the most courageous and sincere act, to close the survival door that has been unintentionally wide open for so long. At this very moment, as the boundary between reality and dreams begins to fade, I invite you to make a sacred vow to yourself. Write down in the comments and whisper in the depths of your consciousness this liberating mantra: I allow my body to heal. I allow the door to close. I allow myself to rest. That affirmation is the final seal of safety, helping you leave the room of worries to enter the kingdom of the most brilliant rebirth. Don't forget to click subscribe so we can continue to accompany each other on the journey of mindfulness. Wishing you a truly serene night, a dreamless sleep, and a morning waking up in boundless joy. Thank you for your trust and for listening. Goodbye and sleep well.